Amber. How are you today?
I've been a little better lately, I guess.
Oh, what brings you in today?
Um, I guess I'm kind of struggling with a few feelings that I've had lately regarding a couple of relationships that I've been in. I'm having a real toss up. Like, I'm in the middle of a divorce. And, I know it's making me really vulnerable. But at the same time, I feel like maybe it's not that's making me vulnerable. But I've kind of let somebody just kind of walk in the middle of me being vulnerable. Like, I'm over here and I'm like, oh, I hate to be vulnerable. It scares me. And then somebody pops back up and I'm just ready to throw it all on the line again. And I'm starting to really question myself.
So, it sounds like you are happy that someone came, but you're worried because you're vulnerable because you don't want to be vulnerable. Is that correct?
Sort of. It's kind of like I'm scared that my mindset is warping the happy, making it bigger. Does that make any sense at all?
Okay, say that again.
So I feel like the fact that I'm so vulnerable is leaving me wide open. So I've not got any of the hesitation. I've not got any of the guards. Nothing in place for me to see things more clearly, I guess. So now I'm kind of worried. I'm just like, oh man, am I like really in love, or am I just super vulnerable and broken because of this? Yeah, I'm just really confused about it.
That's a lot to be confused about. So it makes sense. You know, we go through so much and your mind goes, faster. And so I can understand where you're coming from with so much going on in here.
Yeah.
You can't keep up with your body.
That's exactly
Okay.
how I'm feeling right now.
And so I understand that.
With what's going on, I feel like a lot happened to me all at once, and I got into a really bad place mentally, and I felt like I was doing everything. And I was trying just about as hard as I could try, but every time I thought that I got my footing, I fell right back down again. And then this one good thing pops up, and it's like, am I clinging to this? Like, I'm kind of worried about my mental state. Like, is this really healthy? Is this something that I'm really happy about? Or is this the only good thing that's happening right now, and I'm kind of just dear life, like Jack clinging to that door on the Titanic, just trying to stay afloat. So I'm trying to work through it, but I can't really get a grasp on, am I happy? Am I scared? What am I?
Well, I'm glad that, you are happy in the midst of the chaos.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I hear good things.
Yeah.
A lot of good things. And so tell me the other side.
Well, the
I'm not
other
sure.
side is that I'm really concerned because I know that this this great thing happened once, and it ended so beyond badly.
Okay.
I've never been more broken in my life.
That makes more sense
Way more.
to hear the whole. Okay.
I've been really traumatized, not just by the good thing, which obviously is a relationship. Before him, I was really, really traumatized, and he met me at another like extremely vulnerable point in my life. At that point, I had just realized that a lot of the things that had happened to me had really, like, I had some bad experiences, and I knew that I had no trust, and I was afraid of love. I was afraid to let people in. I was afraid of any relationship. I couldn't even have a friend. I was so scared that anybody who knew me would use what they knew to hurt me. And he met me at this point in my life where I'm not gonna lie, I got a little inebriated for the first time ever. I drank a little, and there went all my inhibitions, and so everything that I had been afraid to tell everyone else for my life, I just spit out to this man. And we got in this relationship, and then it turned really, really sour. And it went from me realizing that I was broken and I had a hard time connecting to people to I'm like latched. Like I don't know where he ends and I begin. And then it escalated and things got worse, and he had a drug problem, and he couldn't seem to put it down, and he was pulling me through it, and it just got really messy, and he was healing so much of the trauma in me with the relationship that when things hit their climax and it got so bad that he really hurt me and he betrayed me, and it's been years since then, and now I see that the pain that this man that I'm like, oh, I'm so excited about, the pain he caused me made it so where I couldn't connect to anyone for the rest of my life. Like I have been closed off to friends and people and everything. So all this happy is in this big shroud of this man. I know he didn't want to. He broke me. So like, I'm scared.
Right.
I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
Yeah. So I'm hearing you say it's fear.
yeah.
So your past relationship with him
Mhm.
was great. It was the best.
Yeah.
It went sour
Mhm.
and it broke you. Now you're feeling good again.
Mhm.
So your mind is feeling that fear of what if again.
Yeah.
Like a vicious cycle,
Yeah.
or like what if.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not only just the what if, it's like with everyone else, because of the trauma and because of the breaking connection, because oh, I finally found this great person, and then he destroyed me. I could not let anyone else close enough for years and years and years. Took lots of therapy to get me to the point where I was like, oh man, I'm really closed off to everyone, everything. I don't even know how I feel because I can't feel it anymore. And I realized I had all these inhibitions. For instance, I had a friend, and me and her were like super close, and then I saw her talking to somebody that didn't like me. And my first instinct, even though she's never done anything to make me think that she would hurt me, is, oh, she's talking bad about me. And I would break my relationship. I never had a relationship that I didn't break at the very moment that I thought something was suspicious or they could hurt me. Like at the very first, even though it wasn't even a real sign, like that she's just talking to somebody, she's being friendly. Not in my head. In my head, oh man, she's gonna betray me. That was my
sounds
first
like
thought.
There was triggers that you didn't realize that you had
Yeah.
from the first relationship.
Yeah.
And you acted upon all the rest of the relationships because of those triggers
Mhm.
without knowing.
Yeah. Basically, I was so scared that I'd get hurt again after being with him that I had reservations about everyone. Just everyone. Everything. I was so paranoid. Like, I don't want you close to me, because if you're close to me, you're going to hurt me with what you know. I know you're going to. I didn't know that.
Right.
But I did know that,
Irrational fear.
Oh, very irrational fear. And I think, I'm thinking about it, really thinking about it. My biggest thing now is there are no reservations. Like you said, I'm hearing a lot of happy, and there's that little voice in the back of my head that's still that person was like, oh, she's talking about me. There's still that person that he broke in there, and I'm in this huge vulnerable position. And I'm just sitting here, and this one little part of me is like, you're throwing yourself into this. Is that a good idea? So I got all that happy on the outside, but like I can feel so much inside that I just can't grasp.
That's a lot to take in. It's a lot at one time to go through.
Yeah. I think that there's like something under the happy that I'm just really, like you said, it is a kind of fear, I guess, but it's just big enough to make me feel like I need to figure out what it is before it hurts me or I'll do something. But I don't know what part of it that I'm more worried about. Am I more worried about the part of me that's like, oh no, everyone's gonna hurt me? Or am I more worried about the part of me that's like, he'll never hurt me, even though he hurt me? Like, I'm struggling. Like, it's a toss-up. I don't know what to be afraid of, but I'm afraid, if that makes any sense at all.
It does. It makes perfectly good sense. And so, I mean, fear comes from a lot of different things. And then I guess I feel like I have such fear with my kids. They haven't done anything. But the kids that I see these days and the way they act and the things that they do, I have a huge fear. And I know a lot of it is irrational. I do. My kids haven't done any of those things. They haven't, even close to it. But I was treating them as if they were already doing the bad.
Yeah.
Because of my fear. And so I completely understand where you're coming from with this fear that's been brought on from something else, but it's not right now.
That's exactly what I did. That is literally exactly what I did. I saw what he did. His name is Jay. I saw what Jay did to me. I came out of my shell because I was really traumatized as a kid. And then I let someone in. Only one person. And I saw what Jay did. He didn't want to hurt me. And that's what made it harder, is because I knew he wasn't trying to. So every part of me just wanted to see the good.
Right.
Wanted to see the happy. Wanted to see the love.
Of course.
And so I was clinging and I was clinging until it got so bad that after Jay, all I saw in everyone was the capability to hurt me like Jay hurt me. So like you're saying, like you said, oh yeah, when I see these other kids acting this way, I'm putting that on my kids, and I'm like, oh, I'm already treating them like you're acting that way. I treated everyone like they were going to do what Jay did.
Right.
Everyone. I came into relationships with the predisposition that they're going to do what he did. I'm going to trust them and give them everything, and they're going to stab me in the back and leave me for broken. You know?
So, what I hear you saying, though, before Jay hurt you, you already had a lot of hurt that you were going through that had you held back in the first place. And then you let go, and then it happened again.
Yeah.
So then you had more years of holding back again.
Yeah.
So now you have the fear that you let go. Now what?
Yeah. Because it's not like short periods of time that I do this.
Right.
I shut down like that, and that's what I call it. I just call it shutting down, because that's what I do. I don't feel anything. I don't want anybody near me. I don't, and I know it's not natural because I don't want people. I don't need people. I actually need to avoid people because I'm afraid those people are going to hurt me. And I did that from like 12 years old to 19.
Okay.
And then I met Jay, and then everything changed. It was like a light switch. With him, everything was natural. It was like there was that traumatized child wasn't there anymore. All of the symptoms of my trauma, all of the fear, all of the everyone I've ever loved and trusted betrayed me was just gone because Jay won't do that. And then Jay did that. And now I'm like, I didn't really let the man that I'm currently, breaking it off with in the way I should have. So the moment he messed up, it was to the curb and it didn't hurt me.
Right.
And that's how I live my life with my friends, with everybody. I only let you close enough to see if you're going to hurt me, because I know that I can just toss you right out of my life and it ain't going to hurt me at all because I don't let you in. And then the exact person who just jacked me up pops up, and now I'm kind of like in this tear because part of me is like, oh my God, this is amazing. I've not felt like this in so long. I'm happy and I'm free and I'm not scared, and my first thought isn't that he's going to hurt me. But now, because he has, this other part of me is like, are you really going to do this again? Are you really going to let the same person that shut you down come right back and do it again?
Right. But when you're explaining the hurt from before, it doesn't sound like the same hurt that you had before Jay. Like you had a different kind of hurt.
Yeah.
The way Jay hurt you, you're saying, you know that he didn't want to. You know that that's not what he wanted, and you know that he loved you. So when you're having the feelings that you have now, it makes sense. What you're saying is all this excitement.
Yeah.
Even though the fear of the hurt is there, he didn't even hurt you the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
So you get to have the excitement of all this. That's what I see the difference from what you're saying, the trauma, and the way you explain it. The trauma, the hurt, the pain, the joy. It's
I didn't call his trauma, did I?
no, not at all.
Well, I guess it's because when I was little, they knew they were hurting me. And it wasn't just, oh, the bad people hurt you.
Right.
It's like my mom and my dad and my stepdad and my siblings. It's like people that, in my mind, were genetically just predisposed to love me and treat me right, and they all hurt me. And it was like malicious. They knew what they were doing. But with him, unfortunately, because I'd spent so much time in pain and I had been this bystander, I got to see that everybody who was hurting me was also hurting. Now they knew they were hurting me and they didn't stop themselves, and so I just couldn't really let that go, and I just didn't want anyone in, because if the people predisposed to love me can't love me, nobody can. And I internalized it real bad. And then with Jay, I already had that watcher syndrome, is what I call it, where I could see, I know, I understand, and I don't want to, because if you understand, you can't be mad, and you're mad, and you can't be mad. So I was like, with all of them, it was malicious. That was trauma. You hurt me, and I know you were okay with hurting me. I know you let yourself hurt me. I saw it. So with him, it was like I saw him withdraw until he nearly died, because he wanted to stop himself from hurting me. And I could see that he wasn't trying to hurt me. It wasn't malicious. He wanted to be good to me. He wanted to love me. He wanted to do the right thing. He wanted to do what he started doing when I met him. But then it was almost like it was out of his control. But at the same time, if he can lose control like that, and he can hurt me because of that, it's hard, because part of me is like, he never wanted to hurt you, and the other part of me is like, but he can't control enough to stop himself. So what if it happened again?
I just want to say, I'm sorry that you had to go through that. The trauma that the people put on you as a child. I really feel bad for you to have to go through that. And so I'm so proud of you, though, for who you are and the things that you're accomplishing. Like, that's a big deal to go through so much, And so I hope you see that, I hope you see that transformation. Hope you see the things that you've been through and who they have helped create you to be, even with the reservations.
Yeah, I just think that I saw a cycle. I saw my mama's daddy abuse my mama, and then my mama did it to me, and then even though they had kind of warped my emotional state to the point that I didn't really understand, like, it didn't connect to me that, oh, what I'm doing is bad. I was just like, I don't want to continue to hurt other people. But then, even though I'm doing all this and I'm trying to end the cycle and break the cycle and make everybody feel better, until I got with him the first time, it was like I was making everyone else happy, but I was never even there.
Right.
It's like autopilot. I was just never there. So everyone else was benefiting from what I was trying to do but I wasn't doing it for Amber. I was doing it for everybody else.
So you're saying you were just living for everyone around you?
I wasn't living, I was existing.
Existing for everyone around you.
Yeah.
For their needs.
Yeah, because when I finally snapped out of what was going on around me, I had a baby, like, right off the rip. That's my responsibility. I have to love and nurture and protect that. So my life revolved around, I exist to be a better mother, to break the cycle, and to take care of my child.
Right. The strength that it gave you. Okay. That makes sense on how you come to be the person, that I see from where you were.
Yeah.
So.
But I existed for the baby, and I lived for the baby, and then he popped up, and it was T-planes and giggles, and I didn't exist I lived.
Yeah.
And then it felt like I died when it ended. Instead of just going numb and having to, because this was my whole life. This is what I was used to. Instead of just going numb and existing like I did before when I was younger because of the trauma, it felt like I lived. I really lived, and finally I really knew what it felt like to live and love and be free and not have to carry that weight. And then I'd never had that.
Right.
And then it was ripped away, and it was so much worse. So
A different kind of pain?
You don't know what you're missing till you've had it. If that makes sense. Like, if you ever tried something to eat and you're like, oh my God, I can't live without this. Before you had it, you could live without it. Fine.
Yeah.
You can live without it perfectly. So before I had it, I knew how to live and just exist. And then after I had it, it was like I was not existing without the knowledge of what I could have. I was existing with a hole in me. I died. Part of me was dead.
Right.
It was just like, part of me is gone. I'm existing with a hole in me now. I'm not just existing and surviving and being proud of what I've done. I'm existing, and I know there's something missing now I didn't know was missing before.
Right.
And now I'm like, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. It's back. It's filling the hole. But now I know what it's like to live without it. Do I really want to let myself live with it again? Because I remember the first few months without it. It cuts so deep. Do I really want to open myself up to that again? Will I survive it this time if it falls apart like that? Part of me died before. That didn't get resurrected. I'm just living happier and freer again. And I'm like, how many times can I let a piece of me die?
Right. Well, I hear you say of all this bad that you've been through, all these moments that you didn't think you were going to live through. And I think, if I'm not wrong, that you lived through 100% of them, right?
Yeah. I existed through 100% of them. But I'm living again. And
Right.
it's scary. Living is scary. Existing.
A fun scary.
Yeah. Living is a fun, oh no, what's going to happen scary. And existing is I'm stable. My kids are stable because
Right.
I'm stable.
Mhm.
My life is stable because I'm stable. And now I'm over here like, Cloud 9 is 20 stories below me. What happens if I tip? What happens if it falls? What happens if it breaks? Existing is stable. Cloud 9 is a high place to fall from. Am I going to be able to stay stable for me and the kids and keep my life on track if this falls apart? And at the same time, I'm hearing myself say this to you. I'm sitting here talking about it, I'm like, hearing myself say it, and I'm like, are you serious? Because I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, you're over here talking about how happy you are, and do I want to risk being happy? I'm like, how stupid do I sound right now? Do you want to risk living your life happily? That sounds insane, but at the same time, it's like, I lived in instability. My mother let her husband take her beyond Cloud 9 and drop her. And I watched her break. And when she broke me every single time. So, it's like, part of me is like, oh my God, this is so stupid. I'm sitting here saying this out loud and I'm like, is it really a question? Like, do you want to live or exist? That's really not a question. People are like, I don't want to exist, I want to live. It's on Facebook every day. But then the other part of me is like, am I going to be okay if I live and I fall from this height again? So it's like such a terror.
Yeah. Well, when you fell before, were you stable?
I don't know how to explain that. I almost thought something was really wrong, like really, really, like I should go to a psych and just stay for a few months wrong with me, because I knew I loved my kid. I knew I loved her with my whole soul. And so I acted accordingly, but I could literally feel nothing. It was like the pain was so big. And it was so crazy because, like, my mom betraying me, I lived with that my whole life. That pain wasn't big, it wasn't shocking, it wasn't surprising. It didn't hurt that bad because that's my normal.
Right.
But then the pain from him it was like, it was so big that my mind was like, you won't survive it, you're shutting down. And for months and months and months, that's how I lived. I didn't feel anything, but I knew what I felt, so I acted accordingly and hoped that I would be okay. And then eventually, I could let people in to an extent. But like I said, first sign of sneakers, it didn't even have to be suspicious. Bye, Felicia, I'm not letting you in. So, like, it took me a long time to even get to that, which is definitely not healthy. But it
Still
took
growth.
me a long,
Right.
long time after Jay to get to there. And now I'm over here, and I'm like, oh man, is it too late? I'm already above cloud 9. So even if I pull away now, I'm still going to fall. But it's not going to be a fall like what I felt before.
Right.
It's just,
It seems different
yeah.
completely, you know. When I hear you tell me about it, I feel like the love is the same. The
Oh, yeah.
people are the same.
Yeah.
But the circumstances are no longer the same. Amber is no longer the same.
That's, I mean, yeah. Before, I definitely wouldn't have been over here like, oh my god, I recognize there's something like deep buried down that I need to go dig up. I would have been like, you keep that deep down, stay in the dark. I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to stay numb and I'm going to exist. And that's what I always did. I'm going to be numb. I'm going to exist. I don't want to explore emotion. What's emotion? Stay away from me. Cooties. I hated it. But now I'm like, ooh, I'm way up here. What's this? What is this little hard pebble of just absolute terror? And what do I do
I'm
about
so
it?
proud of you because you don't see the growth. You might not see the growth that you have had to get to where you're at, but that's a lot. It's a whole complete transformation.
I know that from the outside, I know it probably is a lot, but at the same time, the growth that I had over 8 years without Jay, it's 3%. And then Jay popped up, and I'm 99 again. And I'm like, it'll take me another 8 years to get back to 3% if he dropped me. But then I'm like, risk reward. Is the risk and the reward worth it? Like, is it worth it? And then I'm like, dude, I just said I'm at 99. I was never at 99 without him. I was never at 99 before him. I was never at 99 after him. I was at 99. I was 100 with him first time. Now I'm at 99 because that little pebble's like, girl,
Right.
what you doing? So it's like, am I afraid? Or am I just got this one little pebble of logic that's still left in me like, don't risk it for the biscuit. But at the same time, I'm already there. I'm already there. But at the same time, if I walk away now, then I don't have to risk the progress I've already made. Because I'm walking away and I'm not going to get destroyed. It's not going to get bad, destroy my confidence, destroy everything. Because I went from no one can love me. No one can love me. Even Jay couldn't love me. My mom couldn't love me. Nobody can love me. To, I am the shit. Excuse my language. I am the shit. And ain't nobody going to convince me otherwise. And I was there with my confidence. Now, don't get me wrong, I was still super paranoid. I didn't want to let anyone in. But I still knew I was all that.
Right.
And now I'm like, will I retain what I've built for me and the kids?
Like what you worked so hard for.
If I let him in, if I let it go, and I mean, hey, this could be Snow White type crap. This could be, he gets out. We get married. Everything's great, and we have our fussing and fighting like every other normal couple, and it never gets to that point that it got to before again. It could be that, and that would be what I was risking it for. But it could also be, I'm watching him detox, and I'm afraid he's gonna die, and my whole soul is broken, and I'm like, could I retain the person I've become if I got back there?